Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other features here. I'm going to talk about the routing. Now, in this particular board, we've got, let's talk about inputs for a minute. There's inputs, and this board has local 1 through 8. These are the XLR inputs. So there are connectors in the back, and in the back over here, and it's local 1 through 8, local 9 through 16, 17 to 24, and 25 to 32. And the auxiliary inputs are going to come from the aux ins, okay? That's the input section. The XLR output section, I've got outputs 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and 13 through 16. One feature that you'll see on the screen, you should have seen in other angles, is the laptop. With this particular console, you've got a card, which is an input-output card, and it's meant to connect to a computer to give you the ability to record. For this particular model, this Behringer X32, we can record up to 32 tracks. So what that means is that every singer is in their own track. This can be good for a couple of reasons. First reason is that you can use that to mix down your audio. You can actually make something of that. You can make a recording. It's good for archival purposes. If you record a show, you can use that to prepare the audio for the video. We're not talking about licensing here. Copyright licensing, all of that, synchronization licensing, all of that matters. I'm going through the capability. You want to make sure that you abide by the applicable laws and that you obtain whatever licensure you need for your project. But in terms of capability, I've selected that I'm going to route for my purposes local 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 to 24, and then I've selected outputs 9 through 16. That's actually my particular personal setting. If I were recording the singers, this would have to be card 25 to 32. But I'm doing something with that, so that's why I have that. Here's where you have a look on this particular console where you see the XLR outputs and what they're assigned to. So output patch 1 is mix bus 1, and to review, mix bus 1 was my bass singers. So out the output jack, I have mix bus 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's bass, baritone, lead, and tenor. And then I also have out 7 and 8, I've got matrix 1 and 2. Now keep in mind, remember, what I said is that matrix 1 and 2, that's my mix going out for record purposes. So I've got those coming out, the output jacks 7 and 8. And here's where I've assigned that. Let me switch to the next page. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are main left. And then I've got 15 and 16, the default for this board. And this is not the only one. Several boards, digital boards, you'll find by default their top two, last two bus outputs or XLR outputs are assigned for your master left-right. In this case, that's 15 and 16. So there are 16 output jacks. There's 32 input jacks. And here I've assigned them. So I've recorded on the laptop here 32 tracks. I've done that. I've tested that. That does work. You don't need a lot of laptop, but you need some. So when you're going to be sending your output out the card for this particular model board, you pick you want just your direct outputs, your local 1 through 8 direct out, 9 through 16 direct out. Your inputs, let's talk about inputs for a minute. Let's go over to the input page. Here you notice that I've got local 1 through 8, 9 through 16, right? Those are the local XLR inputs. I can select many different options, and I can select card 1 through 8. So when I select card 1 through 8, what that means is that the input is not going to come from the jacks. It's going to come from the USB card that's actually in the mixer. What that means is that I'll be actually getting the input from the laptop. And so when I do that, I'll be able to play back the tracks. As a matter of fact, the other day, I did just that, as I had a performance that we had recorded, and then I played it back, and I remixed it here. It's great for learning the board, choosing the right equalizer settings, choosing the right compression, adjusting your busing so that that works properly, changing the colors and labels. You can use it for a lot of different reasons. Train your ears, listen to a voice. Multi-track recording, how many times have we wanted to encourage our singers to record themselves so that we could have the section leader evaluate that, just as a means of continual improvement, right? Well, guess what? When you rehearse with this and you record 32 tracks, each voice in its own track, you've already got it. You've recorded everyone. It's a huge, huge benefit. All right, Ben, I want you to zoom out again. Okay, so as we've been talking, and I was showing the output section, you saw a close-up of that. What you have here is you have this ability on the card. I'm sending local 1 through 8, 9 through 16. So that means these jacks in the back, these input jacks, the signal comes into the mic preamp, and we can see the mic preamp for the channel that we're looking at, and you can see the setting and all that sort of thing. And then it goes directly out to the laptop through the USB cable. In this particular board, you have 32 channels. So you can take every input channel and record it in your software. I happen to be using Cakewalk by BandLab. This is the former version of it called Sonar, but it's the same stuff. It's free and it's great. You can use other software as well. You can use BandLab by Cakewalk. You can use Tracks Live, Waves Tracks Live. That's another free one. Audacity you can do. You can use GarageBand. But then there are other options too, like you can purchase, Ableton Mix or Studio Live, Studio One, I think is another software. Pro Tools, Logic Pro, very popular. Any digital audio workstation you want to use. Here's the point though, is that those inputs are coming in and going directly out. I'm going to look at the routing, and here's where you pick that. We've already had a close-up to this, but you pick what is going actually out. And then, though, when you look at your inputs, again, the inputs per channel on these channels here, these are coming and they're configured to come from your local inputs. But you can adjust, you can pull them from the USB card. So what we did the other day is we did a mix session where we actually did a multi-track record of a performance and then brought it back in here, configured the laptop, the digital audio workstation, to output those signals out the channels, and then we configured the card inputs for the channels. So the channels on the board, the mix channels, bring their signal from the card, and then we've been able to submix that. So I was able to remix the show as if it were live, but no one else was here. I was under headphones, I could play it through speakers, I could do whatever I want, I can add reverb. You know, I have reverb over here, we can always add reverb. And, and we could mix it and play with it. We could adjust the settings in the equalizers and in the gain stage so that we had a better signal. And this is a way to learn how to mix and learn how to mix your voices. This is how we learned what the EQ curve looks like. We had our signal selected and playing back, and we were able to see real time what was happening and then make adjustments. So with a digital board, you've got a lot of different capabilities, a lot of different functions. You've got virtual routing. It's not virtual, it's electronic routing, which is controlled. And you've got equalization settings, you've got buses, you've got matrix outputs, we've got mute groups, all that sort of thing. Usually on digital mixers, these are the features that you'll find. You've got input and output going out the digital card, USB connector. Some digital consoles only have a stereo left-right output, while others allow you to record multiple tracks. It just depends on the model that you have. The Behringer X32 seems like a really great price point. You should consider looking at that. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you get notified when there's new content.